Hello everybody. Hello, hello. Well, this is the day, I guess. It appears that Sherlock and I have both been avoiding a rather self-evident truth. Yeah, for those of you who didn't see the tweet I posted a few hours ago, life is rough. The lab is very busy, and I don't... there is a possibility this might be my last stream for a decent while. For all I know, possibly forever. That's why we're cutting the plan we were planning on doing today to finish side quests and just hitting up the ending of the main quest already.
Now it looks exactly like it was a decade ago. I can almost feel the memories hitting me.
Yep. Memories, Sherlock. In the end, that may be all we have.
Oh, I remember now. I never liked the way the books were sorted on these shelves.
That you didn't. Your brother often struggled to find his reading materials after our visits.
I hope everything will be okay at work and you get a chance to relax. Thank you, Walter. During our time at Stonewood Manor, Sherry and I would regularly visit the Cabinet of Curiosities. Sherlock was sometimes so bored that he arranged all the books in his own particular order. He said it was easier to find the required book this way, but Mycroft never agreed. The last time that Mycroft was unable to find his desired reading material, he excoriated us for an hour and insisted we return the shelves to how they were.
When you're finished here, can we build a wigwam from the blankets? Like in the good old days?
Hello, Claricorn. Thank you for showing up. Although I should probably mention you, this is going to be the finale for this stream, for this game rather, and this is a mystery game, so if you would like to dip out or, mute the tab, just lurk to avoid spoilers, I won't blame you. But thank you for showing up anyway. You cozy blanket. How lovely. A much vaunted wigwam, as John so eloquently put it earlier. Okay, that looks like everything we have to find in this room. Yeah, I heard hi, don't mind spoilers, I'm here to chill. Well, thank you for showing up. Okay, nothing in here. Is that the only room on this floor? It looks like it. Let's head on upstairs. The portraits. The study.
It was truly an unforgettable event. I hope I will have a chance for revanche with you, Monsieur Lupin.
I was a bit too distracted to bring it up when it was actually happening, but man, Lupin was a dick in that case.
Nice now. It's comforting to see the way it was meant to be.
Like, Lupin is supposed to be a gentleman thief, isn't he? God, framing his ex for theft just as a prank? That was real freaky.
My mother always preferred to spend her rare moments of lucidity with me.
That's true. She even stopped Mycroft from joining you. Remember?
I do. He didn't show it, but he was upset. I think Mother paid more attention to me because I was younger.
Yeah, it was just a prank, bro. In her rare moments of lucidity, Sherlock's mother always wanted to spend time with him. One day she found us preparing for the play and she helped us apply the stage makeup in front of the mirror. Mike wanted to join us, but she refused. He didn't show up, but I know he was upset. Violet always paid more attention to Sherry because he was younger. Yeah, I was about to theorize that...
It reminds me of my mother.
It's the magnifying glass we found last episode. Yeah, I was about to say, I thought maybe it might have been because Mycroft is more about, you know, ruthless, brutal honesty, and he might have been less willing to play along with Mama Holmes' delusions.
Do you?
But if they say it was just a sibling age thing, I guess I'll just trust Sherlock on it.
I'm so frustrated to find only one bed in this room. Mycroft initially refused to bring another for you, but after a week-long dispute, he gave in.
What a stubborn man. How well do you think he would sleep without a bed?
Shortly after arrival, we just went over this. There we have it. The empty house has been restored. And all we have to show for it... yeah.
Sharp and well-balanced. It would be a pity to leave such a tool behind.
Sherlock had a bed for his imaginary friend. Rich people, man. They live in a different world.
I hope Wooden Joe won't object to a new friend.
Yeah, sibling birth order. Yeah. I am an oldest child. I don't know if you can tell by the everything about me.
Home sweet home, Sherry.
Seriously though, who reapplied the wallpaper? That's what I want to know.
The local justice system in all its glory.
That's just a painting of some stuff. Nothing to report. Well, we've been sitting in this chair admiring the smell of clean laundry long enough. This might be a short stream, depending on how involved this case is, but... John, I need to get through here.
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain. And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona. So many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
I don't have time for any more side quests, John. I'm sorry.
John, my animum, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together.
Why did they make him so pretty?
Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good. That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive.
All things wither if unattended. Such is the way of the world.
Ah, yes. The statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish.
Boys even had our own. In the end, ain't we all just little teacups? Short, stout.
That's from Mother's favorite tea set. What is it doing in here?
Okay, so we can't go into this grayscale area here. He's going full on block space. Yeah, I was just about to crack.
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
I was just about to crack a joke about going to black space. Potassium bromide.
This must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Dr. Richter experimented on my mother with unconventional drugs and treatments. Every dose had a risk of side effects. My mother used sedatives frequently, so her body must have built up a tolerance. It wouldn't be a danger to her. I'm not an expert on chemistry, but I can see the way the wind is blowing. And it doesn't make any sense that her throat would have been splashed if she'd been drowned. So I believe someone attempted to give her a tracheotomy. My mother had an unexpected allergic reaction to her medication, and she suffocated.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
No, John, I don't believe it is. This is just straight up the bit in White Space Day 2 when you start seeing Mari start appearing at the borders of the screen.
Don't go, Mother, wait! I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
It's kind of...
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. Let's take a peek. You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
I'm waiting for you.
Well, hey, at least I was right about Dr. Richter's accent.
Sherry, come here, darling.
A point for Mitsuda, greatest detective who ever lived.
Sherlock,
Yeah.
come closer. Sherry, come here, darling.
You know that
I'm waiting for
that voice filter they do for John when he's fading out because our brain is getting restructured is like the exact same filter I've heard on every Amori fan dub during the part in Black Space where the gang cracks Basil open like a cold one.
I'm waiting for you.
I don't want to get one note, like one-to-one comparisons, but
Sherlock,
the game
here,
keeps
come
giving them to
closer.
me. Yeah, that's freaky.
I'm waiting for you.
Coming, Mother.
And she was gone. Like an angel's kiss.
This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed.
Star of the Earth brand flowers from the makers of Chicken of the Sea brand tuna and Tuna of the Dirt brand chicken.
Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
We are completely on rails at this
We
point.
should
Me
put some fish in it.
pressing
What do you think?
directions cannot
How
change
about
the
some
path
lard?
we're on.
That's a nice idea.
Setting up a koi pond in a London colonized Mediterranean island. See, the melting pot works.
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! He's...
Oh god.
I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No! Don't you dare say such things! You are a liar like all the others!
Mother!
Don't call me that! You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Get me my stuff from you!
Sherlock? Buddy, you okay? Don't go into the light. I know how easy it would be. Believe me, I know. My mother attacked me in the garden of Stonewood Manor on the day she died. Mycroft found Otto Ruchter near my mother's body just after she had died. My mother tried to drown me in the pond at Stonewood Manor. After Mycroft caught Dr. Otto Richter, he blamed him for my mother's death. So here are 4 possible conclusions. Dr. Richter killed my mother to end her suffering. Dr. Richter killed my mother by accident while trying to save me. And Mycroft covered the truth to hide. Style, thank you. Wait, shit, no, I clicked that by accident. Okay, Style, thank you for the follow. Or, of course, my mother died from an allergic reaction after we gave her sedatives with her morning tea. Otto Richter tried to save Violet. Mycroft deliberately blamed him for her death, despite John and I being responsible. And from there we can conclude that either John is the killer, because the idea to give her the sedatives came from her, which means it came from him, which means that I cannot trust my own mind. To heal myself, I must get rid of John. Or I am responsible for my mother's death. It was my idea to give her medication, which caused the allergic reaction. I don't particularly believe Dr. Richter was responsible. As I said earlier, the slit on her throat does not make sense in any circumstance wherein she drowned. It must make sense... Considering what we saw, I doubt it was allergic stuff. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge of, like, old, long, outdated medicines to say it, but like I'm saying, it makes less sense if we assume she drowned because somebody took a slash at her throat. That makes sense if she had an allergic reaction and got a tracheotomy, but not if the cause of death was ventus. Yes, we went over this a few videos ago. I can't back out of here, but in our evidence list we have the police report from her death, where it's specified on the autopsy report there was a slash on her throat, but the cause of death was to cut the unnecessarily complicated linguistics and technical terminology, oxygen deprivation. Now, that by itself may be suggestive of drowning. But again, why cut the throat? None of the motives we have against Dr. Richter, who is the only person we are allowed to accuse on this logic train, makes sense for him to have done that. You don't give people tracheotomies in response to drowning. I don't know enough about bromide to call how much sense the allergic reaction theory makes. If I get an ad read right in the middle of your explanation, yeah, dearest, sincerest apologies. Would you like me to go over it again? It wasn't that complicated. Basically, I do not believe she drowned because the throat slash does not make sense. Nobody has motive, and it doesn't make sense as attempted treatment. That's about the limits of it. Man, I was really kind of hoping... I'd be able to get the investigation app up again so we could have a vote on this, because this is a complicated issue. You know what? Actually, you know what, chat? I believe the death was violent because of just circumstances for drowning Sherry. Yeah, You know what? Hold on one sec. Things are about to go quiet for a minute. I'm going to improvise, adapt, and possibly overcome. Just give me one sec. If the game will not let me do democratic voting, then I will just have to do it on my own end. Almost done. Here we go. I don't use Streamlabs Ventus, so instead I just set up a straw poll. I know what I'm gonna vote for. But if the rest of you would like to weigh in, here's your chance. Yeah. I've made my case. I'm curious if any of you have any thoughts. I'll try, but my judgment, as you saw, is weird on the matter. It's not an easy question to answer, team. Also, if we could find out if the poll is actually working, because I don't believe I've ever done this before. Mycroft had unlike methods of Dr. Otto Richter. By all appearances, Dr. Richter was a bit of a quack, so it would make sense that there were dangerous medicines present in the house. Mycroft blaming Dr. Richter could be accurate because he was, of course, famous for being the even smarter brother, even if he wasn't exactly an industrious type. It could also be an attempt to defend us. She's getting worse, but that's progress. Yeah, that sounds kinda whack. But then again, it doesn't sound like he wanted her dead. We haven't got any, like, financial motive or anything. Did Mycroft accuse Dr. Richter because he was guilty, or because he wanted to protect us? That is very much the core of the issue. Is there anybody in chat who hasn't voted yet and would like to? I'm not sure how much longer I can drag this out. Mycroft has already lied to us once, but Ventus voted, Walter voted. Okay, okay, my straw poll is currently reading 0 votes. That's disconcerting. I don't have to vote, I'm leaving it up to the mystery solvers. That's a perfectly respectable call to make. Mine chose with 0 votes as well. Is... Alright, I'm gonna give this one... You know what? There's not many of us here. Everybody just say what you voted for in chat. I can do single-digit addition. Unless somebody has a good reason not to do that, but I mean, we're just playing a game. That's not going to be a problem, probably. For what it's worth, I did vote. I did put in 1 vote, and I voted for Sherlock, having done it accidentally, and we should blame ourselves, not John. Okay, that's 1 vote for Sherlock, 1 vote for Dr. Richter by accident. Ventus, it looks like you should weigh in as well. Doc on accident. Okay, that's 2 votes for the doctor by accident to my 1 vote for Sherlock. I appear to have been outvoted. My mother drowned. Her throat wound could be a desperate attempt to save her. My mother used sedatives frequently, so her body must have built up a tolerance it wouldn't be a danger to her. Mycroft did not like Dr. Richter, did not trust him, his methods were not good. Mycroft caught Dr. Otto Richter and blamed him for our mother's death. My mother drowned, either by accident or on purpose. My mother, Violet, was drowned by Otto Richter. Otto killed my mother while trying to save me. The drowning was an accident, and he desperately attempted to tracheotomy to save her. Mycroft hid the truth to protect me, and wrongly accused Otto of murder. This is our answer. God help us all. Are you sure about your choice? Yes, I am.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry,
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
you couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up. Whisked me away from this place, buried me in schoolwork, and left the past to rot.
And you needed a way to cope, so I helped.
So John is just straight
were
up
a lie,
Sherlock's
John,
amore.
a fiction, a crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock,
What?
are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
Sherlock, what are you doing?
You kept me in the dark and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. And worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of
Camera
dwelling in the
angles here are
past.
very
Was
interesting.
lies upon lies. Otto Richter was trying to save her, but you decided he deserved to take the fall. Is that justice?
Okay, no, he is
Picture,
just.
Sherlock. The big picture. Perhaps Richter was not responsible for her fit of rage, but his treatment led inexorably to that moment. You were so fragile. I could not. I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once I believe you. Perhaps now that the truth is out, I can actually do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Good. You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
Unveiling the truth always leads to a moment of catharsis.
I was worried.
We can
there
only
for a
hope
minute,
that's
Sherry.
enough.
Really worried. I didn't want to hurt you. What's so funny?
I am talking to myself, John. I think I was hurt regardless.
But we made a good team, eh? Explored every inch of this place together. Helped a lot of people. Terrorized a few too, I suppose. I think I may go so far as to say, Sherry, that I have not lived wholly in vain.
So that's it. It's over.
You've opened every door, Sherry. Faced the past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
I know. I will miss you all the same.
I don't think we can keep John around, Walter. He's not part of the mythos.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye, John.
God, the single tear. Achievement unlocked. Closing a chapter. If only they'd hugged it out. Rest in peace, Violet Holmes. You were a sick woman. And I can only hope you feel better wherever you are now.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Van? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. hold me responsible for his end?
Pah! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more.
Werner seems like the type who just
When
wants to
one
cause
for nothing,
chaos.
Sherlock,
Yeah?
The best thing to get them is something personal.
Yeah, that
So,
seems about
here you
right.
are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project.
He deflects all of our accusations with his sick sense of humor. A clownly power. What the heck, he drew us a portrait of Elle.
You really are beautiful.
I was wondering where Klaus fit into all this. He seemed to be the only dangling plot thread, but
My brother returned to London soon.
I
after
admit
our
that caught me off.
disagreement. He enrolled at Cambridge University, but attends only the rare classes that hold his interest. I hear he took employment at a hospital laboratory, obsessing over his experiments. I suppose he seeks solace in the empirical truth of a chemical test. I am afraid for him. His evenings are spent alone, solving citizens' menial mysteries to pass the time. And I suspect he is growing paranoid. One of my agent's vehicles recently ignited during a surveillance operation. She was lucky to get out alive. There is only one man who could orchestrate such a feat. Or perhaps two. I saved my brother. He will never forgive me.
I found it! I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't
Walter's
mind the
Russian,
smell
give
of
him a
strong
minute.
Tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours. and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for route?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
And thus was born a partnership that would outlast both of its participants. And that, I do believe, was Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. What a game. God, there is so much stuff spinning around in my head right now. But on the whole, I quite enjoyed myself. I've been a fan of Frogwares and Sherlock Holmes, their games in particular, for a good few years now, and I like the direction the company is going overall with this game. I like all of the way they've increased the number of mysteries and crimes they can put in a single game. Got me into Frogware, so yep, it's good. Yeah, if I sold one person in my brief time on the internet on, I guess, helping spread the good word, I guess that's good enough for me. But yeah, the island of Cordona is a very lovingly crafted world. If there is one complaint I do have... Yeah, if there's one complaint I do have, it is that the shooting sections were absolutely miserable and did not really map well onto the rest of the game. Like, you know, you could have skipped all of them and not missed out on anything, and the controls were a bit janky. And I guess some of the mysteries were, like, a lot of the side quest mysteries were not very meaty and sort of just explained themselves once you looked at all the evidence. And I'm still salty about how I got the blind shooting club case wrong. My answer made more sense than the quote-unquote correct one. Gun mechanics aren't great in Sinking City either, I'd imagine. But, yeah. The main plot, though, I absolutely loved the main plot. Admittedly, it is not the most creative thing. Like I've been comparing it to Amori this entire time, but you know, I like Amori. I think Amori is a very deep, resonant story, and I think Sherlock Holmes being Amori is an interesting take on the character. If there's one more thing I think is eating at me, this is the bit where I, as a pre-existing mystery freak, start getting into the technical terms and the weeds of the game. I feel like all the cases, including the I guess 4, this wasn't really a case in the traditional sense of the word, but the 4 main cases all felt much less logically rigorous than the cases in, say, Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments or Sherlock Holmes The Devil's Daughter, the previous 2 games by this company. He's starring Alex Jordan as Sherlock Holmes, played him in Devil's Daughter but none of the previous games. We'll come on as John Michael Golub as Vanna, Philippe Boscher as Mycroft, and a massive list of people we're not going to attach to faces. That's great. Yeah. Like, say, for instance, in Case 3, the case of the ritual murder. No, I think that was Case 4. There was a guy named Watson on the team. That's funny. Yeah, the case of the ritual murder on the slate. I built the case against Lord, what was his name? Because I thought the letter being planted was the only solution that satisfied me, but I couldn't really point to a reason why it couldn't have just been the, Werner picking it up while he was on drugs bit. And the only real physical evidence I had against the culprit himself was, a bit of soap under his fingernails. Or, say, in... Man, I'm trying to remember what the earlier games even were. Yeah, I feel like that was a bit worse than the previous two games. For comparison's sake, in, Crimes and Punishments, in that game, the cases always featured very solid, unambiguous cases of this is the only answer that makes sense. The culprit couldn't have gotten off the train at this station because it doesn't make sense that they could have predicted X. The murder weapon couldn't have been Y because we have a witness statement that Y was there because of Z. Whereas in this game, like you all saw, I couldn't really build a reason why one of the cases was really more solid than any of the others. Yeah, that was... Which, as someone who's primarily into mystery fiction for the fair play elements, I found that rather unsatisfying. But man, that ending hit me like a bus. Excuse me, just going back. God, we've only been here an hour. I didn't expect, man, I didn't expect that game to end so quickly. Do we... Let's see, what do we want to do now? Good twist. Yeah, it was a good twist. I mean, admittedly, my brain kind of started going in that direction as soon as we found out that Mrs. Holmes was suffering from mental illnesses, just because, it had to be something Sherlock would repress, but, God, it hit. It hit quite hard. God, what do we want to do now? If I hit continue, where do they drop us back off? Oh, right here. Quite interesting. Chat. Would you like to see the remaining 3 endings just for the sake of completion, or would that feel like it would cheapen the experience? So they just let you see other endings. And it's 1 vote for yes, courtesy of Walter Karlov. A streamer you all should definitely be checking out. Just a little parting gift from me to you. Okay, 3 votes for yes. Okay. Let's see. Mycroft accused Dr. Richter. Mother tried to kill me. This is the ending I would have gone with if you all had not voted, so let's look at this one first. I am responsible for my mother's I suppose I should go at the beginning. My mother died from an allergic reaction after we gave her sedatives with her morning tea. Otto Richter tried to save Violet, yet Mycroft deliberately blamed him for her death, despite John and I being responsible. I am responsible for my mother's death. It was my idea to give her medication, which caused the allergic reaction that killed her. It's my guilt. Mycroft hid the truth to protect me. Okay, Sherlock. If that's what you thought, what would you do?
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew.
Well, at the end, Sherry took the final decision, but I thought John hated the medication. Yes, that was true, but also John is just a voice in Sherlock's head. All of his thoughts come from Sherlock's brain. Blaming John would just be a way of avoiding the truth, is my interpretation.
It was an accident, Sherlock.
Of course, there's also the interpretation that John is a symptom of mental illness, and confronting him would be seeking help, so it's complicated. I wasn't sure. Honestly, I mostly picked this because it's dramatically appropriate.
I was a friend.
Actually, why is Mycroft here? Why does Mycroft show up at this moment? I'm not sure.
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way,
This is a really good moment. The three-way conversation
truth I couldn't bear.
is
But now I
is
must
very
face it.
good. It's great how all the words have multiple meanings. It's great how Mycroft can
There is
deduce
only one thing to be
John's thoughts, even
What are you
though
talking
he
about?
can't hear him
done.
because
To
he's
expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to
gosh.
fail to hold oneself
Sherlock,
likewise
no.
accountable.
Sherlock.
It
You
would
were a
be
child.
Hypocrisy.
The
Your mother
elevator
died
was
by my
losing
hand.
oxygen. You weren't
I
thinking
must turn
straight.
myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions. You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges.
So
If
they
you're
can confess
lucky,
with
they'll
actions no
simply
matter what.
exile you.
That's
If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
actually, I don't like that. I mean, I get.
Worry me too. Try and talk me out.
I'll
of
save it for the ending.
As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking.
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John,
Sherlock.
why?
Because you're breaking my heart.
That's not what you said in 3 of the 4 last cases we did.
You've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
Sherlock and John. They were the best of friends. Pity they couldn't have met under better circumstances. God, that Poppin's rough. Okay, is this scene going to be exactly the same, or...
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met,
Everything's the same so far.
Ha!
there was
Otto was mere.
why.
To help you.
You're lying.
To
More lie.
to see what had happened. You're my mom.
I remain.
Okay,
It is
this
a matter of
is
will and- Oh,
this.
on that note,
Hold on.
I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project.
I thought it was weird that Werner was such a big, important part of the game, but I figured... no, the painting looks the same, but I figured it was maybe... just because he was...
are beautiful.
It was maybe just because he was like an ideological contrast. I didn't expect him to be like a figure if from the main case. Well, I suppose he really wasn't.
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me, pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now, I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything?
Is that a mental institution you deform in the painting, I mean? I'll have to check that specifically. Okay. This is predominantly from the books, so I do not expect...
I found it! I found it! I found it!
And what?
This ending seems more abrupt and kind of weird, the other seems to have more closure and peace. Also, the ending told for the brother's perspective. I don't know, I kind of see where they're going with it. The Sherlock being denied catharsis from, you know, facing his own consequences.
Bruises may be produced after
The
death.
idea that he
How are
solves
you?
cases as a way of evading
You
the
have been
trauma
in,
that has
Afghanistan,
not been
I perceive.
resolved.
How on earth did you know that?
And of
Never
course, the
mind.
idea that
The,
John
the
was
question now is
protecting
about bruising.
him much more
No
directly.
doubt you see the significance of this discovery.
I
of mine.
feel like this was the intended correct ending,
interesting,
although I
no doubt.
certainly understand
Practically.
how one could make the
Why
case
is
for
it so much
Dr. Richter
practical
doing it by
medical legal discovery
accident.
For years, had we these data, cases oft hinge upon, and ergo, what?
Then you.
Indeed. But you came
So
here
the
on
dialogue in
business.
this last cutscene is obviously
Correct again.
predominantly
I'm looking for
lifted
someone with whom to take
from
diggings and heard you were
A Study in
complaining that
Scarlet,
you
but
could
there
get
are
no one to
differences.
go halves with you?
I
in-
had my eye on a suite in Baker
I'm
Street,
up to lunch, I'll
which
watch the
would
rest later.
suit us
Okay,
down to
Ventus,
ground.
thank you for showing up.
You don't mind the
Goodbye.
smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
In the original A
shit
Study in
myself.
Scarlet,
good enough.
Sherlock was
I
not
get in dumps
investigating
sometimes.
post-mortem
Don't open my
bruising,
mouth
he
days on
was
end, just
inventing a
let me alone,
chemical
and
test
I'll
that could
soon be right. What have you
identify
to
bloodstains.
It's best for two fellows
Determine
to know
whether
what
a
bruises each
substance
other
was
carries
blood
before
or
they begin to live
not.
together. My last companion and I.
Well, I
Um,
object to rows because my nerves are shaken.
Sherlock's
I
line
guess
about
I've had all sorts of
people
ungodly
needing to,
hours.
or roommates needing to
I am
know
extremely
each other's
lazy.
bruises
Another
was, of
set
course,
vices
not a
when
pun, there
well,
go not there.
Those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for route?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive me.
And of course,
my
Sherlock did
attention.
not have any response to John Watson
Sherlock
being
Holmes.
named
John
John.
Watson.
John.
And the door's shut as another one opens. Okay, I highly doubt the credits have changed. We are looking at the same dev team. Okay. Now, if I'm misreading the game psychologically, John being the culprit could very well be the most interesting ending. Sherlock confronting his own fallibilities in his mind. And of course breaking up with his greatest friend. I said I was going to say something after the ending. What was it? The endings. The endings. That was it. The way the game just accepts whatever ending you pick, no matter what. I kind of like the idea here, but I'm curious if it also works with, like, the cases, the murders, the whether the culprit was Marina the serving girl or Lord What's-His-Face, or Lord What's-His-Face's servant nephew. If that's, like, if those cases don't have fixed endings, I think that would be a massive misstep. Because, you know, it kind of defeats the point of it being a mystery if you can just kind of wiggle. I doubt it would work like that in cases. You're probably right, Walter, but I'm definitely going to want to test that at some point to be sure. Because, as I believe I've said multiple times this video, because I'm rambling, it is not like that in the previous games, and I find that very satisfying. Like, the cases felt less solidly constructed either way, so I'm concerned. Met our son Lupin, though, so that was cool. Johnny.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
One could read the implication of the differing endings as...
Get off me.
Mycroft is going with whatever you said.
You, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
You. It was your idea. The sedative, that was you.
She was hurting us. Sherry. I couldn't bear to see you suffer.
So you killed my mother. My worst impulses, my darkest thoughts, they're you. You were a lie, John, a fiction, a crutch.
No, I was afraid.
John is the one who constantly advises we avoid the truth,
please.
Not just in this case, but also in general.
I don't know.
With the vampire case, with the Luigi's Mansion case.
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear, but now I must face it.
Whoa, Sherry. What are you doing?
There is only one way through.
Through what? What do you mean?
My entire life, my work, my mind, has been compromised by a malignant force, by a perversion of rationality. By you, John. You're a tumor. You're a poison.
Sherlock.
And like a tumor, you must be excised for the health of the patient.
No, this is the lie, Sherry. I protected you. I am your friend, your brother. You know me. You know me. I was always there for you. When your mother lashed out, I took the hit. When you were alone, I held you. She was sick. she needed to calm down. I helped her.
You killed her.
No. Yes. No. But it was not meant. Please. Please. I'm scared.
Even hug. Come on, Sherlock, drop the gun. Drop the gun and it will all be... No. No. Oh, man, you're gonna aim for there, too. Man, that's just cruel. The heck, Sherry?
Are you all right?
I think... on the balance of things... No.
That is good news. To be unaffected by today's events would place you in a different pathology entirely. Your time on Cordona is over, Sherlock. Tomorrow we shall board a vessel back to London, and all this... it stays here.
He's gone, Mycroft. I needed to take control. He would help me, but it was a lie because but he's gone. I knew he was wrong. Do you see? I am free. I just had to act.
Yes. In that respect, you are your mother's son.
Lord Mycroft. Man, Mycroft is really dark in this game. Like, in Crimes and Punishments, you had the option to sort of get cross with him and, like, call him kind of a jerk, but he was never this bad. Good lord, I feel like some stuff in later games has been recontextualized. Okay, Vernay. Okay.
Why are you here?
We're pretty clear that this is not going to change.
It is a matter of will.
Yeah, all the same.
When one wants for... Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls.
Now, Ventus told us to look at the guy's clothes. And he's not here anymore, but I'm going to follow his instructions anyway because he's a pretty cool dude. Is he wearing... It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's wearing, like, a button-up and separate pants.
Are beautiful.
I don't see any, like, straps or anything.
I am all right. I returned to London and enrolled at Cambridge University.
Cambridge, interesting.
Their professors leave something to be desired, or perhaps I simply lack the interest in all but a few lectures. I prefer to spend my time at the local hospital pursuing things of practical use. Medical research, chemical tests and the like. Empirical truths. I try not to think about you. I try not to think about anyone unless it is in the course of an investigation. I've started to help people with their menial mysteries. It keeps the mind occupied. I cannot risk otherwise. I'm not like her. I'm not like you. I am all right.
Who are you trying to convince, Sherry? Who are you trying to convince?
I found it! I found it! I found it!
So far, ending with accusing the dog is the only one Mycroft is actually happy with us. Yeah. That would be understandable, certainly. Yeah, it's interesting. Of the 3 endings we've seen thus far, Dr. Richter did it by accident is the only one where we've really got closure. But given that this is a prequel, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
Okay, so far I will say I
Interesting,
like
no doubt, but
the Sherlock did it ending more than the John did
It
it
is the most
ending.
practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner,
Sherlock doesn't
hundreds
seem
of men
like
would have paid the penalty for their
manic
crimes.
in this
Cases
way in the
oft hinge
story. It
upon
doesn't
how a
really
man
make
died.
sense as a prequel in
Now,
the same
we can know
way.
which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed.
Correct.
I
smoke.
That's... What have you...
Well, I have.
Do you include violin? Oh, no, that's Dr.
I'm curious if they would have included that violin playing line if you hadn't played the quest where you get the violin. They probably would, but it would be interesting if they didn't. Okay, one more ending, and it's the one I'm absolutely certain they did not intend anyone to take. I'm curious... I'm mostly looking at this one because I'm curious if they, like, half-arsed it any. Okay. She drowned. Increased tolerance. Otto killed my mother to end her suffering and save my life. Mycroft hid the truth and protected me, but was correct of accusing Otto of impropriety. Yeah, I guarantee you no one on the dev team intended this to be, like, the solution. Mostly because it's, you know, exactly what we thought before we went into this room, and that would defeat the point of it being a mystery. But, they did program an ending. Let's see how good it was.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me?
The only thing this really changes is what the motive
Wake
was.
Get off me.
Sherry,
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
you couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up. Whisked me away from this place, buried me in schoolwork, and left the past to rot.
And you needed a way to cope, so I helped.
You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock,
What?
are you okay?
Sherlock, are
don't
you
know.
okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Sherlock?
told you not to come,
Sherlock, are you
Sherlock.
okay? Are you okay? Are you okay,
Where is he?
Sherlock?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way,
Okay, now, but
he was
actually, why is Mycroft here?
a truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it. You kept me in the dark, and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. Worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, at childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter killed our mother, and you kept it from me. You had no right. I deserved to know.
You deserved to live, Sherlock. In his twisted mind, he killed her for you. But you didn't need to bear the burden of his choice. You were so fragile. I could not... I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once, I actually believe you. And perhaps, now that the truth is out, I can finally do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Good. You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried.
Yeah,
I didn't want to hurt you.
I guess the dark endings have more closure because Sherry finding out what happens and that's it. Meanwhile, other endings he's still burdened by unsatisfied guilt and no redemption. Yeah, that seems to be the shape of it.
So funny.
I am talking to myself, John. I think
Now
I was
this
hurt regardless.
this ending
But we know
feels
you're a team,
about as
Explored
sloppy as I
every inch of this
expected.
place together. Helped a lot of people.
They just kind of talk, there's a lot of recycled dialogue.
I think I might go
John's
so far as
reaction
to
when we
say
show
that
up doesn't really make as much
I have
sense
not
without the
lived
big
wholly.
dramatic scene of Sherlock pulling a
That's
gun
it.
on Mycroft.
It's over.
Alright, I'm back.
Open
Galley
every
food was
door,
shit,
Sherlock.
lol. Yeah, welcome back,
Face the
Ventus.
past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
I know.
We're just finishing up the last
We'll miss you
ending.
all the same. I don't want you to go.
They literally copied and slightly cut at the dark endings. Yep.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Goodbye,
I don't think they intended anybody to take this ending except for completionistic purposes. Okay, I guess we'll take a look at that painting one last time so Ventus can check the clothes for himself. So that was the thing he asked for. Man, look at those low poly bats. Bats! Bats! They get in your hair! They have rabies! Get a tennis racket!
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends.
Ha! Ot.
Yeah, this dialogue is the same in all four endings. Behold! Art.
You really are beautiful.
I just want to smooch you directly on the face.
After everything, Cordona felt hollow, cloying. I returned to London and joined Mycroft in his work for the Crown, but soon that too soured.
Interesting
He
decision.
cannot abide me being right, or perhaps I cannot abide him being wrong. I left after 2 months. I enrolled at Cambridge University, though it proved similarly unsatisfying. The lectures were of limited interest. I am more obsessed with my work in a hospital laboratory, pursuing medical research and devising novel testing methods. At least there, I can be confident in the truth. I think about you in the evenings. I helped a woman with a trivial matter, and now others arrive at my door for assistance with their mysteries. We could have spent years on the case together, just like Cordona. But I didn't listen to you, John. And now you're gone.
I didn't listen to you, John, now you're gone. That's an interesting way to describe what just happened. Yeah.
I found it!
Yeah, this is
I found it!
And what is
Maybe
that?
it is a prediction that his drive to find the truth will eventually drive him mad. Disheveled hair, strange posture, clothing like a mental ward. Yeah, I think that's a pretty sensible interpretation. Especially given that it came from, you know, somebody who's been talking about how truth is subjective and Sherlock is a fool this whole time.
Bruce.
Excuse me. It's a weird note to end the game on, though. Considering. Yeah. Well, there you have it. 4 endings. 4 ways to get to that same hospital. 4 potential traumas for Sherlock to be solving mysteries as a way to distract himself from. Yep, that's the game. I feel like I still have more to say, but I feel I'll examine his weird gun later because what the hell is with it? Given Sherlock... Okay, when we first did the tutorial for the shooting section, Sherlock mentioned that it was the newest automatic on the market, and this game is set in 1880, if I recall correctly. That might help. Let's see, I feel like I still have more to say about this game, but I feel so disheveled in my brain space, I'm not sure what exactly it is that we still have to say. The game itself does not have anything to contribute anymore. Let's switch over to the just chatting stream, why don't we? Just chatting screen, rather. Watch your ears, I have not adjusted volume levels. Turning in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, looks about good. Okay, here we are, back in the laboratory. Man, remember when this place was a thing? Feels like it's been forever. So, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. A Frogwares video game. Yeah. I suppose the first thing that jumps to mind in Rare the title is that it is a prequel. Yeah, prequels are always an interesting beast because you have to... sure was interesting. I hope to see more similar game streams from you. Maybe someday. I hope someday. Yeah. Yeah, prequels, especially prequels with multiple endings, always interesting because you have to end in the same place. So what, you don't have a lot of wiggle room, like, obviously we all knew. We all knew the game was going to end with Sherlock in the basement of St. Bart's talking to John Watson, because that's where the series goes. That has been locked in stone for literal decades, if not centuries, before before this was even a twinkle in anyone in Frogwares' eye. So the question is, which of the endings is most satisfying, feels like it segues most smoothly, and honestly, I kind of get what you all were going with saying it was Dr. Richter on X's ending. It's very emotionally satisfying in the moment to say, oh, Sherlock did it by accident, and he's solving cases away, absolving himself of guilt, but Sherlock the character never really felt like that. You all saw in the ending, the one true Omega ending at the end of the variable bits. They reframed the scene to have Sherlock, crying softly to make sure that, it looked that way, and it never really came across that way in the source material. Yeah, overall liked the game. Liked having a lot of mysteries to solve. Frogwares are very good at that. Although I will say, I kind of felt... This is absolutely me being spoiled. But I felt like a lot of the mysteries had very interesting pitches to get you to do them, and then as soon as it showed up, they wrote them off as quickly as possible. Like Blind Dueling Club, I picked up that case because I heard about a case of like a guy getting his eyes shot at very precisely. It was like, ooh, an impossible second crime. And it turned out it wasn't. Or the case of the both of the spiritualism cases we kind of resolved pretty quickly just by picking his stuff up. Yeah, some mysteries do seem frustrating or simplified. Yes, some of them did. Pistol looks to be built like a Lancaster Howdah pistol. What in the Sam Hill is that? Let me look at a visual reference. Lancaster held the pistol. Give me a second, I'm gonna show you all this. This is the gun in question. It looks similar enough. A double barrel, not a self-loading mechanism. Let's see, according to Guns.wiki, Lancaster was a multi-barrel pistol designed by Henry A. Thorne, used primarily by the gun business of Charles Lancaster. In its day, tech specs. Wait, feed system 2, 4, 1 in each barrel. Lack of a complicated firing mechanism. Protected by the relatively bulky but by no means unnecessary frame casting. To almost any condition without risk. Manufactured either 2 or 4 barrels. Did not have rifling. A break barrel design. Just don't always research guns well. Yeah, I mean that much is true. And if they did, they wouldn't always be better, to be fair. Okay. Lancaster takes most common caliber sizes. Okay, I'm not an authority on old-time firearms, but feed system 2, 4, 1 in each barrel sounds like the double barrel only took 2 shots at a time. Interesting. Certainly pretty real. Alright, you've served your purpose, away with you. Okay, what was I talking about? I feel like my thoughts are very disorganized, so I'm not expressing myself correctly. Let's look at something specific that would let us describe our thoughts quite well. Dracula, Love Kills, Myth of the Mummy. If I could just find a convenient image featuring... Nah, not gonna be that easy. Okay, this will have to do. No, is that not it? Okay. Man, I don't know. Yeah, a month of streaming and I still barely understand how my own OBS works. Okay, this'll have to do. I was going to look at the... Frogware's official website, but it's not laid out smoothly enough for my purposes. And let's compress it down here. This is the bit we're interested in. A list of Sherlock Holmes games developed by this company. Thought I had this set to capture cursor. Capture cursor. Whatever, we're burning daylight. This is good enough. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Sherlock Holmes games developed by Frogwares. I'd say I'd put Chapter 1... maybe second best. I still think Crimes and Punishments is a better game. Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments was the first game in the series. It bothered me. It's the first game in the series to feature the Mind Palace mechanic, the bit where you can connect nodes to make complete thoughts and then move them in the sort of tree pattern. And as I've said a decent few times already, because I'm a rambler before anything else, it's a much solider game from a crime development perspective. Absolutely fantastic. Like, heard a lot about Crimes and Punishments, but never actually played it. Very interested though now, especially now. It's very interesting. It does not have as much of a running plot as Chapter 1. I think that's probably why Chapter 1 has gotten more attention in the general press lately. But Crimes and Punishments is a better pure mystery game, I would say. And also, one I think I'm going to view differently now that I've played Chapter 1, because Mycroft is in that game, and let me tell you, this game made me view Mycroft differently. This game made me view Mycroft differently. Yeah, one of the, multiple endings for a single culprit solutions in that case is whether you want to work with Mycroft and do, sort of similar to what we did in this game, the slow grinding of justice versus calling Lestrade and letting him just smash everybody. But man, just grinding slowly is a very different picture now that I've seen Mycroft have an innocent person hanged on purpose for political purposes. Let's see, Devil's Daughter. Devil's Daughter was the first game in the series to feature the current voice cast. It has the same voice for Sherlock. It might have had the same voice for Watson, I wasn't paying attention that closely. It sort of, you see there was a bit of a break, but I think it did represent a bit of a transitory period between Crimes and Punishments in Chapter 1, because it featured a lot more, action-y minigames. Crimes and Punishments featured minigames, but they were all very investigatory. They were like the chemist one in this game. Or... yeah, that was really it. Devil's Daughter features a lot more rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting, and I think it was a worse game for it. It also featured time limits for, the Sherlock Holmesing people over minigame that you couldn't turn off, which I think was a mistake. I think including time limits in mystery games in general is a mistake, because the fundamental appeal of the mystery genre is thoroughness and logic and logical thoroughness. You throw everything you can against the wall, you stress test all of your theories, and at the end you have to be certain that the answer you land on is correct. I think punishing people for saying the wrong thing once goes against that. Because, how was I supposed to know that that was an injury and not a birth deformity if you didn't let me check the birth deformity of it in more detail? That's my theory. Mystery of the Mummy. Mystery of the Mummy was the first game in the Sherlock Holmes series. I believe the first game Frogwares made, period, and it is fully free to play. You can get it on Steam for free right now, because it's a very old-timey point-and-click game. It's got that sort of Myst-type control where you want to take your time limits and unnecessary stress like in tactical games. Yes, Walter, you are right and you should say it. Mystery of the Mummy. Yeah, fully free to play. It had that sort of Myst control where you play in first person, but you move from pre-rendered screen to pre-rendered screen instead of actually, like, you know, wandering in a modeled 3D space. It was a very old-style game. Case for the Silver Earring, also a very old-style game, but it was no longer first-person. I've not played Mystery Family. I have played Silver Earring. I remember it was a surprisingly good mystery for a game released in 2004 by a small company, but it's still very point-and-click adventure gamey. There are a lot of puzzles that do not amount to anything. They're just there to pad out the gameplay time because they did not have an actual mystery. Unless they got a pretty broken port. Yeah, that's sad. And then, from 2007 to 2009, there was this trilogy, The Awakened versus Arsène Lupin, also sometimes released as Nemesis, and versus Jack the Ripper, which was very interesting because this was the trilogy where they made 3 crossover games in a row. Sherlock Holmes The Awakened featured Sherlock Holmes fighting a cult of Cthulhu. Sherlock Holmes vs. Arsène Lupin is right there in the title. And it features Lupin as much less hostile force than he was in Chapter 1, but he was still the guy you were facing. Very fun to talk to. And versus Jack the Ripper. Now, Sherlock Holmes fights Jack the Ripper is probably the least creative concept of these 3. Oh, hell yes, Cthulhu cultists. Yeah, you get to see Sherlock wield an elder sign at people. It's very fun. For Arsène Lupin versus Jack the Ripper. Now, Sherlock Holmes... I'd be interested in playing Awakened with you for fun. That's very sweet of you to offer, Ventus. Yes, Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. Now, Sherlock fighting Jack the Ripper is a very common, very simple, and very frequently poorly done concept in Sherlockiana. But Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper, developed by Frogwares, is, to my mind, the best piece of Ripperology I've ever seen. It's very fair, it's very logical, it does not go into deep, like, you know, conspiracy theories. Sherlock does not at any point entertain the suspicion that the Freemasons or the royal family were involved. The famous From Hell letter is written off as a hoax, as most serious Ripperologists do. And it's quite a good game. 2012's The Testament of Sherlock Holmes is the last game in the very pure adventure without a lot of mystery story to it. And to that end, it is a very good adventure game. Although it is much more in the vein of the adventure Sherlock Holmes stories than the mysterious ones. I like it for what it is, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. So yeah, I think that's Mitsu's incredibly short and not at all focused crash course in Frogware Sherlock Holmes games. I'm not including, for the sake of my own sanity, the very short and dirty, their subdivision dedicated to making hidden object games. 'Cause why would I? Let's see. Progress up to anything else? Let's see. Let's open this back up so you all can see. Yeah, look man, we all gotta do what we gotta do to make ends meet. Okay, wait, is the rest of the screen? And that's obnoxious, ever. And for the benefit of the tape, I am currently looking at the main Frogwares Wikipedia page, because I want to make fun of the fact that their second ever game was an adaptation of Journey to the Center of the Earth. And their fourth was an adaptation of Around the World in 80 Days. These freaking nerds. Can you believe these guys? Yeah. In 2013, they released Mag Runner Dark Pulse. I remember the game Waxworks game, not detected at all, but featured combat with Jack. But I have heard of Waxworks, Walter. Yeah, Waxworks, the one of the like real old-timey crusty PC games where you go into a haunted Waxworks museum and you trade lives with like your ancestors, and it turns one of your ancestors is Jack the Ripper's long-lost identical twin. So you have to avoid lynch mobs while fighting your evil twin. Who is Jack the Ripper? God, that was ridiculous. God. Yeah, I love old games. Let's see. In 2013, they released Mag Runner Dark Pulse, a cyberpunk Cthulhu portal of them up. It's a series of puzzle rooms based around a single concept. In this case, you use the magnetic glove to power objects with color changes. Objects of the same color attract each other, while objects with different colors repel each other. Yeah, it's very much a Portal type game. You go from room to room solving puzzle boxes, but at the end you fight Cthulhu. The real Cthulhu. Cthulhu is their second most frequently done licensee after good old Shirley, who makes up more than 50% of their output, regardless of whether or not you consider their casual output. Yeah. Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. An interesting mystery game that should not have had combat. That's my final verdict. And I feel like I should have a bigger, more emotionally resonant note to go out on here. Is there anything you would like to say to me? Something you'd like to do that will not take us too terribly much longer? Because I enjoy hanging out with you all, and I'm gonna be deeply upset I won't be able to do it for a good long while. What else to say? So do I, Walter. So do I. It was exciting to watch it. Thank you. Thank you, Walter. I'm still not quite sure which of the endings I like the best, but I consider the Doctor Did It by Accident ending canon, specifically because it's the one we all came to together now. Not usually interested in detective games that much, but it was fun with you. I consider the point of this channel to promote detective games. I don't care about myself. I'm small and weak and unimportant. But detectives are an entire genre. And if I could interest even one person in taking them a bit more seriously, that's good enough for me. Even if I'll end up not doing that super great. Yeah. play Ace Attorney, play Danganronpa, play Frogwares Sherlock Holmes games. Got me playing Sinking Cities, point to Mitsu. Yes! Victory achieved. Let's see. One point I'd like to leave you all off with. If I've convinced you all to get more interested in mystery games generally, there is one obscure title I would like to promote. Damn, remember to have a series in the library. Like the whole series? You should definitely get on that. But that's obvious enough, so one last point I'd like to say before we leave. I got this game for streams, and I have not yet played it. But it's the most obscure detective game, I think, from reading pre-order stuff, is going to slot into what I am particularly interested in. So it'll allow me to look it up real quick and grab the link. Should I be doing this in stream or should I be doing this in stream? I already started. Detective Kobayashi is a Japanese murder mystery visual novel, which got translated. That was good enough for me and my purposes to purchase it immediately. The way I've heard it described thus far, it doesn't sound like a particularly deep, long-going story. But if the plotting is up to Japanese standards, I think that will be good enough. And that's really all I've got to say. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Ventus. Saved in Steam. Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Ventus. Thank you, Clerico, and if you're still holding around. Thank all of you for showing up today. I am deeply, dreadfully, and passionately sorry I teased you all with the stream only to have to pull out after a month. I really thought this would go better. I'm so desperately sorry. I genuinely consider you all friends. Goodbye. I hope to see you again sometime. Until then, see you all next case. I didn't mean to hit that quickly, but I guess. Wish I had a proper ending screen.